E3 2013 here at the Los Angeles Convention Center in Los Angeles, California. I am Alex Mendez, also known as Golden Boy FCW, joined by Corey Dunn. What's up, buddy?
It's been good, man. Every bit of that interview was just amazing. I think we answered a great deal of questions throughout the entire process. Yep. I mean, I wanted to know, because I love playing as a medic, going through the game, playing as Assault, and going around and shock pedaling. I still remember whenever Battlefield 2 came out for the very first time, I was running around with paddles and just sitting there shocking every single opponent I can find. In the early stages, I know a majority of you out there that had the chance to play Battlefield 2 in the very beginning, I know you remember shocking your enemy and then bringing them back to life and then shocking them again.
It's so bad. I actually really do like the support tool, Blowtorch, that thing. You know,
that's
roasting
awesome.
people with that. You know, like cooking them a little bit like barbecue. That's that's my whole thing right there. That is certainly going to be really cool. Also, you can learn a little bit about the green laser sight as well, which I'm really happy about, because you know when I looked at it too, I was like, hey, no, I'm not entirely too sure on this. So I am glad that that was addressed and taken care of. So I think we have some gameplay going on right now behind us, right? So
we can hop in at any time.
That's right. So let's just jump into the action as soon as we can, but continue to talk about, I guess, the interview with Patrick. And here we go, some gameplay now. No building writing yet. I'm depressed. You know, me is sad.
So it's one of the things. It's the fact that you just said not yet. Does it mean that it's not possible at some point?
Yeah.
But in this pre-alpha, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
You have to think about every single element to add into that. I mean,
true.
the fact that they put an elevator in a building that is destructible, that's something else.
That is.
I mean, the fact that you're about to sit there and take away something that has some type of function, that's awesome stuff.
No, I think that's pretty cool. And as a matter of fact, you know, they're always looking to tweak things. You know, like we actually asked, you know, can you be in the elevator when the building is coming down? And they were not, like at this point in time, we're not entirely sure. It's something that we were talking with our camera guy about. And we were just like, you know, I wonder if that's a possibility. So who knows? Maybe we might ask that question a little bit later on today and find out. But I would think that that would be absolutely hilarious. Just like you're like, dun, 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 ah! And then you just like fall down. That would just crack me up. But yeah, so lots of cool things. But I think the coolest feature of them all, without a doubt, is the commander mode. I am so stoked about that.
I think every feature is really cool, and that goes without saying. That's not a marketing pitch or anything. That goes without saying. And you're right. The commander mode is definitely one of them. As we take a look here, you can see one of the DICE employees helping the individuals out here, some of the gamers out there. I really want to dive deep into this. So there's different types of aspects, and we can take a look here from this angle, but also we can take a look at it from the tabletop view. But staying right here for now. If you look in the top left-hand side there, you can see the different types of elements that the commander has. Basically, you have the UAV scan that's up at the top, the EMP scan, or the EMP UAV, as well as the Tomahawk missile, but that's whenever you acquire the B flag. As for the gunship for the C flag, and then the infantry scan over there at D. Now, all of these elements are specific to Siege of Shanghai, to those exact flag points. So there's a reason why each one of those are whenever they're acquired.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess a good thing to talk about would be, and by the way, guys, you're going to see right here in the tabletop perspective, the Tomahawk is coming down. In commander mode, you can actually click.
We can actually click on it right now. I don't know if it's probably pretty difficult to catch it.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
That's difficult, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one to catch.
But in the commander mode, whenever you launch the Tomahawk, you actually get a picture-in-picture view of what that looks like. So you get the view from the Tomahawk, and you can watch it go through the sky, through the buildings, and then land on the point that you wanted to land on. Typically, again, all of these numbers, the time frames are not solidified at this point, but right now it's about 15 seconds. So that just shows how skilled you have to be utilizing the Tomahawk as a commander. Or yesterday we had the chance to see a commander just go off the hook and pick up 24 kills. I know it ended up on Reddit as well. That, again, that takes a great deal of skill to be able to pick that up. Again, 15 seconds. That means those guys had to wait around for that long.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, there is significant cooldown with the things that you're going to be using in commander mode. So just bear that in mind, guys, for those of you who are like, it's OP. It's not, you know, like they're looking at balancing every single facet of this game without a doubt. Even, you know, when we talked with Patrick earlier about the secondary attachments, that's another thing that, you know, like they are balancing it all out. They want to make sure that everything is working, and also just kind of like not overpowering one another. So yeah, you can slap on a bunch of different attachments, but there is, silencers do negate, like minimize damage, and the laser sight helps you with your hip fire aim, but there's still all those things in it that are very, very different and just cool in general. And I'm really happy to see that they're listening and actively changing it up. So without a doubt, some cool stuff.
Let's continue to take some time to really go over the commander mode. I know there was a lot of questions with that. We'll kind of see if the sniper can get this pick off. Doesn't look like it's going to happen.
I want him to. Come on, man. Reload quicker.
Get
the shot. Believe in yourself. Eye of the tiger. Hit it. Never mind.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the tabletop for a little bit longer. Just kind of think about this. If you notice, it's very similar to the way that the commander mode looks. That's the reason why we're able to dissect each element. So again, I had mentioned that you have the capability for a UAV scan as well as an EMP UAV. So with that being said, whenever you do a UAV scan, you have a certain area that you can see. Typically, it's a pretty good little radius that around each of the flag points. It doesn't have to be specific to those flag points either. So with that being said, you can right-click on a certain area, and then it'll bring up a pop-up there where you can select whether a UAV, you can order your troops to be able to attack a certain point. All of these different types of options. You can even have an ammo drop, a supply drop, even a vehicular drop.
That's right, and that is another thing too that people were talking about in regards to ammo in the vehicles. The commander is a big assistance in that, because you want to make sure that you're constantly getting ammo for your tanks and stuff. So that is something in there, and of course we'll dive into that a little bit later today and talk about that. But yeah, so the commander has a big impact on the battlefield, without a doubt. But the one thing that you always want to remember is that the commander mode is something that requires. If I could be so bold, they're looking at balancing, and it requires a player who is there to work with his teammates to do so. And we did ask, I believe, Alex yesterday or the day before about the selection. That is not there just yet, but he did reassure us that it is fair, without a doubt.
It's going to be fair. And one of the other things they kind of talk about with the EMP, whenever you pop an EMP over a certain region as well, it takes out all types of electronics there. That's more based for the infantry. It's not going to take down a helicopter if you pop a UAV or pop an EMP in a certain area. It's not going to take down a tank. It's not going to make it a huge impact, because they're worried on the idea that it's going to make such a huge impact on the full gameplay. So if a commander, that would be OP or overpowering if a commander had the capability of, oh, that's where a helicopter was spotted, let's pop an EMP, and you watch it just fall from the sky.
Yeah. So it certainly is something that affects the infantry. And again, they're looking at balance. Everything is, balance is very important to them. You can see actually, another thing that we were talking about earlier about the health packs and the health crates as well. Just the way that they had their mindset to it, keeping things moving. They don't want to do things that will ultimately slow the game down, right? And that is a big thing in the commander mode, right? Where the commander is not there to slow things down. He's meant to keep things moving, keep the action flowing constantly.
Right, so one of the questions, though, that I had asked as well, if you have a UAV scan, so say, for instance, you're on the other team, you're the other commander, I'm the commander for the other team. From that point, you pop a UAV over a certain region. I immediately pop a EMP for that area. Your scan no longer works.
Really?
So we can kind of battle between one another based off of that idea as well.
Game of chess.
So that means it's a just complete game of chess throughout the time. Again, the EMP currently is going to be longer of a cooldown than the UAV. Also something to note, talking in terms of cooldowns, whenever you have a Tomahawk, the cooldown does not start until it's exploded.
That's right.
And that's a huge point that I think that, you're saying, okay, well, if it's 15 seconds for me to shoot the Tomahawk out, then that's a 15-second part of the cooldown because I initiated off the start. No, it's as soon as it explodes. And so from that, then the cooldown starts.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of people out there that are really, really concerned about that as well. So most definitely. That was an observation that, Corey, you just made on your own by looking at the commander mode.
I look for any type of balancing act that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah, Corey's big on that stuff. I'm more of the ilk of I just want to shoot stuff, And
I love the strategery. I told you I'd use it at least once.
Oh my God! Why would you use strategery as a word? Pick it up, guys. That's it. That's the new thing. Battlefield for strategery. But yeah, so we have you know, a lot of questions, and there's going to be more answers throughout the day as well, guys. Keep that in mind. We're going to continue to talk and pick the brains of DICE and look at you guys for feedback as well, so that this way, you know, we can ask the right questions, the questions that you guys want to hear. There was something brought up, if we can drift away from Commander real quick, that I want to cover on, was scope glint. You had actually mentioned that you saw it.
Many times.
Yeah, so there is scope glint similar to what we saw in Battlefield 3, where if you're looking directly at a sniper, or if you find the sniper, you can see them scoping in, so that this way there's no more of that hiding in a bush and trying to snipe people and not helping out your team.
Right, so you can sit there and kind of scan around, and once you spot the sniper, of course, that's with the sniper looking in your region, looking where you're at typically. Of course, one of the things, if you're a smart sniper, those who want to play highly competitive, you kind of scan with your pistol at first, and so you kind of look around for different points. Maybe your teammates, if you have a great team that's communicating well and making some great calls, spotting, utilizing what we call QQ, because that's where on the keyboard, that's where you do your spotting from. Taking advantage of these different elements and then pulling out your sniper rifle to be able to pick off those players from a distance. Also something to note, the different types of optical zooms. Of course, you have your standard optical zoom that we've seen from Battlefield 3. They do a great job of having a variety of optical zooms, but at the same token, you can also have a canted iron sight. You can have an additional optical zoom, so you can basically multiply your zoom that you already have, so you can get even further out there. And then also the rangefinder, so you have an idea of getting your focal length. So for those photogs out there, or the camera people out there that understand focal length, this allows you to kind of make sure you can gauge exactly where you're at.
Yeah, and that is a cool thing, like all the different things that they are implementing into the game, the variety. One of my, I guess, the one thing that I have certainly been taken aback by and was like, whoa, this is so cool is, you know, I'm not much of a sniper. I never have, I never will be, you know, in all honesty. And I want to use the Recon class, and I want to use the C4, which, by the way, is not something, the C4, if, you know, that's a whole other topic that we'll get into a little later today. But, you know, I want to, you know, use Recon. I want to use those abilities. I can now pick the designated marksman rifle. I believe there's a shotgun. As well, and I think an SMG, perhaps, or no, I think it might just be those two. I haven't had a chance.
There's
to take
also
a look.
like so there's a DMR, a shotgun, and I have me lost as well. It's very similar
but
for those that played
variety.
Battlefield 3.
Yeah,
it's the exact same idea.
And I like that a lot. You know, you have variety. You're not just limited to sniper rifles, or this class is only limited to assault rifles. There's variety, and you could play the game the way that you want to play it, because, you know, it makes perfect sense.
It's also an assault rifle. I apologize. Now I remember it's the AK-5C that you have the ability to pick up as well.
So, you know, a lot of variety with the weapons that you're using here. Taking a look, Tomahawk coming down right now.
This actually brings up a good point for me as well. So with the Tomahawk, and I asked this question, this is not 100% sure. I haven't asked the head leads for anything, but the Tomahawk causes splash damage, right?
Yeah.
That was a great pickup by the Tomahawk, picked up 2. When the skyscraper is up, you can Tomahawk those pillars. So
really?
If you want to be the one, as the commander, you can make that building fall based off of splash damage. For those of you that are not deep into competitive gaming or not deep into gaming, splash damage is kind of like whenever you throw a grenade, it's that area of effect. It's gonna make an impact all around.
That really cool stuff. I actually didn't even know that you could, angle it.
I asked every question I could think of under the moon for Commander mode.
Yeah, because Commander mode, you know, it's a feature that's making its return, you know, and people are pretty excited about it because, you know, it's different, and you haven't seen anything like that this gen.
I didn't ask about it on the Android tablet, though. My bad, guys. So we'll get that answer.
The other thing, though, but in regards to that, you know, again, not that much knowing about the tablet, but in regards to the Commander mode, you can actually watch the game in real time.
That's a great point to make up. So let's go ahead and hop into a tabletop view. All right, so I'm not for sure how far we can go with the spectator side, but with the commander side, you can actually use your scroll wheel. For those that are on the PC, you can scroll wheel. Of course, there's other ways that you can kind of designate it, and you can zoom into a region, so you can slowly get closer and closer to an area on the map, and then from there's the final point. It's kind of like Google Maps. Whenever you start out as a vector, everything is kind of all graphics and pretty pictures.
Yeah.
But whenever you start to really get in deep, it turns into a satellite view that's real time. So that's another type of mention.
It gives you a little bit more accuracy with your calls.
Right,
as well.
right, exactly. So you can even dive down deep. Now there's times, the only thing that the commander can see is from his infantry scan, from a UAV scan from a certain area, or whether his teammates make a spot. So he won't know exactly where everything is based off of, just kind of getting into it. So he can actually zoom all the way in. It's very difficult, especially when the skyscraper falls. So he can't take that advantage because all of the dust and debris.
Yeah, again, the Levolution playing a really big deal into the competitive battlefield and just battlefield as a whole. It affects, the AC-130 gunships. It affects the Viper helicopters. There's just so much going on. So I most certainly love the fact that there is that balance.
Alex, you know what really impresses me about this game is we have been talking for an hour straight about every single detail, and we have not covered the same thing yet.
Yeah, that is actually
that's impressive. We talked about so many elements, Levolution, land, air, sea, every bit of it, and we still have not talked about everything.
I feel like we haven't even talked about, the amphibious vehicles enough.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, that is something that when I saw it in the E3 show, or the EA press conference before the convention began, I was like, oh my God, that is so cool. And we didn't even really dive into it all that much, that's pretty crazy. So, you know what, in thinking about it, we're going to get into that a little bit later today, hopefully, and dissect the brains of these DICE developers even more.
So no wonder we have 3 days to talk about Battlefield 4. I mean, we needed it.
Yeah, we certainly did need it.
I mean, we had to be able to dissect every little bit of the game. Yeah, I feel like 3 days to do it. E3 is the best venue for it.
I feel like when I buy Battlefield, and by the way, guys, if you haven't had a chance yet to pre-order Battlefield, you can do so on Amazon.com right now. So you shouldn't even wait. Oh, look at the scope blend.
There you go.
Boom, headshot. There you go. That's what our stuff is being shown here. I feel so proud. Yeah, guys, make sure if you want to get into the action and get into fun, you can get in there pre-order at Amazon.com. So make sure you do so right away. You can also, and a big shout out to the people who are also watching us on Amazon.com as well as Twitch TV. Got to give a love to everyone who supports. And look here, you can actually see he's going to go for the kill.
Hey,
very
bro.
cool.
Got him, Coach. Hey, also, one of the things that I had a chance to talk to a bunch of DICE employees, every one of the DICE employees have the DICE dog tags. And so whenever they're over in Sweden, majority of those who are in Sweden, they have the DICE dog tags. Yeah. And so whenever they're in server, they have to worry about other players coming up whenever they know that they're DICE employees. So they get knifed all the time. And what I brought up to them is, hey, the reason why you put counterattack in the game is just so people wouldn't steal your dog tags. Am I right? And they chuckled about it, and of course. But again, I think that's another great element that was added into the game of giving the ability to counterattack.
We will be sure to talk about counterattack a little bit later there. And bear in mind, guys, everything that you're seeing here right now is all pre-alpha build. This is not beta. This is not close to release. No, this is pre-alpha. They scrounged all this stuff up together. Even when we got here, they were still updating the PCs because they wanted to make sure that it was the optimal experience. Like, these guys took a risk doing this, and the fact that they took that risk and are still getting awards, getting nominations for game of the event and multiplayer of the event, all that stuff.
So many awards.
Really is a testament to how polished
nominees
Battlefield
at this point.
Yeah, it's insane. It really is. I'm very happy about to have even just been a part of the whole thing. And a big shout out to everyone who had joined us for the experience as well. The action's still going to be heating up. We're still going to bring people on board to talk about all the different aspects of Battlefield 4. So do not fret. If there's a question that we have not yet gotten into that we can ask, we will be sure to ask. I even asked about dinosaurs. Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, guys, we're listening. We're listening. It would be nice. That was what Patrick said. So pretty funny stuff there.
It would be fun. It definitely add another element, of course, more of a public side, not necessarily a high hardcore mode.
Yeah.
For those who are highly competitive, but it'd be fun.
At the end of the day, Battlefield 4 is a fun video game, and fun is at the heart of everything that we do. You shouldn't be playing video games unless you're having fun. Simple as that. Even if you
That's
are
a weird concept, Alex.
it really is, especially, you know, and I was a former competitive gamer myself, so like, you know, the concept of fun could be lost on guys who take the game really, really serious. But remember, guys, at the end of the day, we're all here to have fun. So, and we also, the other cool thing in talking about the vehicle that we're looking at right now, the smoke screen that we see at the bottom of the screen there, it's, you know, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that, Corey? I know that was something that we covered, but even I don't understand it completely.
Yeah, so one of the things that that we've seen in Battlefield 3 is that it was a smoke screen before. So basically, it's like a big puff of smoke that blooms around. It's very, very good visually. It works out for most tanks. But what we have now, especially with some of the different anti-tank artillery that we have out there, you have to worry about any type of lock-ons. Of course, that what we have now is this kind of starburst action that happens, that type of animation. So that's also a plus as well.
Yep, and much more to cover as we are going to be diving into the final day here at the E3 Convention Center. E3 is one of my favorite video game events. I'm pretty sure it's a favorite for a lot of people, and it's a dream come true for me to be here as well. It's actually my first full E3, so I'm ecstatic to have been a part of this whole thing. So Corey, I mean, what can we expect later on during the day? I mean, I'm sure there has to be some more craziness coming our way.
Yeah, so we haven't even dived down into the spectator mode. There's different types of elements that we can kind of talk to throughout the rest of the time. Again, there's one of the beautiful things about Battlefield in general, the way that the series has worked. I mean, there's not only just elements and just saying what's your class type, and whether you're a recon, assault, so on and so forth, but also deep into that, we can kind of talk about different type of weapons, attachments. There's different ways to slice and dice it, and then that's just talking about the infantry. We can also slice and dice the different types of vehicles, what type of things that we want to have for our helicopters, all of these different elements that are involved. Just so many different types of gameplays. One of the things that Daskro had mentioned in one of his videos a few months ago was that he's such a tank player, and it just shows how you can try to build up on a skill for hours and hours, days on end, and then be really, really good at it, and then have something else to work towards. As you build yourself up, you level yourself up, if you will, as a player, and not necessarily directly in-game. This is not a role-playing game. You affect yourself and how you play.
Better.
I mean, it's like working on your free throw time and time again until you get it right.
Same concept.
Then you work on another concept, or you work on another avenue from there.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, guys, we are going to be right back with some more action here as we load in some more players to have some fun and play some Battlefield 4. So you guys, and Corey's excited. See his hands are moving and all that stuff. It's freaking me out. All right, guys, so we're going to be right back in just a little bit. More Battlefield 4 live from E3 at one of my favorite events, like I had said before, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. We'll see you on the other side.